screaming down the path of transformation? I know, I certainly do. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown. My name is Lori Carlson. I'm a licensed practitioner here, and I am very honored to be doing the talk today for Reverend Frankie, who is away speaking in Princeton. So for those of you here in person, it is so great to see your faces. For those of you joining us online, streaming live, or watching the YouTube or Facebook after, we are glad you are here. Let us know that you're there. Use the like buttons, share, chat to each other. We want you to feel like you're a part of this community and a part of this celebration today. So the theme for this year for Center for Spiritual Living is a grand rising. And the theme for this month is divine discomfort. And the theme for this week is lessons in uncomfortability. So we are going to be talking about embracing change and trying to see the greater possibility that exists on the other side of what makes you uncomfortable. So, we'll be talking about that. We're going to do a spiritual practice. We're going to have a sing-along. So we have lots of things coming up. But first, turn off your phones. First, we are going to have our Namaste practice. Now, Namaste means the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. But we're not going to do it just like a greeting by turning around and going namaste, namaste. We are going to do it as a spiritual practice. So I ask you to pair up with someone, and not someone that you came with or someone that you know well, but someone that you don't know as well. So move if you have to and choose a different person. And we are going to give and receive. Mark, if you want to come up here and do it. So, the way we're going to do this, everybody got someone? Yeah. Okay, so now we are going to do Namaste from a place of not breaking eye contact. So you're going to look into the other person's eyes, and the first person is going to say, the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you.
The divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in me.
Okay, then you're going to take a breath, and you're going to really feel seen, feel that divinity within you being seen, and then you're going to say it back to the other person. So whoever said it first, the other person say it back and really be seen. The divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. Breathe that in, feel it.
The divinity in me recognizes and honors the divinity in you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, how does that feel? Do you feel seen? We're going to do it one more time. So everybody switch partners. This is like a dance here. Everybody switch partners. Someone new. No? Okay, I don't see people switching. Okay. Did you switch partners? No, I mean different people. Oh, that's okay. All right, so one more time. Look into each other's soul. Look into that place of inner divinity. The divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. And then receive it. I just heard someone say, that's intense. Does anybody else have that experience? Really being seen and really seeing that inner divinity in another. That is what a spiritual journey is all about, right? But it's a little uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable to keep that eye contact and to speak about spiritual things. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be embracing some of that uncomfortability and trying to find ways to embrace change in small ways so that we're better able to deal with the bigger changes that are inevitably going to happen in life. But first, and I'm remembering this week, we are going to open with a spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. And affirmative prayer is not a begging or a beseeching to a God outside of ourselves. Affirmative prayer is a recognition of the truth as we know it. That place of divinity within us that we just recognized and honored, right? That is what we are affirming. And then we are speaking our desire for what we want and what we believe out into the universal law. So I invite you to close your eyes and to hear these words as if they were your own. So right here, right now, in this place of divinity within, where I know the power and presence of love, the power and presence of spirit that exists in, as, and through each of us. We are each unique manifestations of this one source. And we are here on this spiritual journey to lean into uncomfortability, to face change, and to become greater expressions of the love that we are. And so I affirm for each one here and each one listening that we embrace this today, that we open our minds and hearts and have a greater experience of possibility, a greater experience of all the good that is available to us. And so with deep gratitude for everyone here, with deep gratitude for the opportunity to pray together and speak this word, with deep gratitude for this beautiful teaching that allows me to embrace uncomfortability and face change, I release this word. I release it joyfully. I release it gratefully. And I release it expectantly because I know that it is already done, based as it is on deep faith and conviction. And so I let it go. I let it be. And I invite you all to join me in saying, and so it is. Okay. So, like I said, anybody else kicking and screaming on this path of uncomfortability and change? I mean, there might be some of you here who are very comfortable with change, who charge right into it and embrace it fully with open arms. Do we have anyone like that here? I know it's not me. I know it's not me. I am one of those. I am very comfortable in my comfortability, and it takes conscious effort to step into change. I would rather stay comfortable on my couch. I'm going to be talking about the comfortability couch. And so I would rather stay on my couch a lot of times than face the uncertainty of something new. And that is where the growth is, right? The growth is in stepping out of what you know and stepping into a new possibility. You know, in 12-step, a lot of you know that I'm in recovery. I've shared that openly here before. In 12-step, we say that a lot of time people have to hit their bottom before they are willing to do the hard work of change. Because change is difficult. Change is uncomfortable. Change can be scary. And there is a lot of change in this world that we cannot control. It is the law of life, right? If there's one thing you can be sure of, it's that things are going to change, whether you like it or not. So how can we prepare ourselves to better face the changes that are inevitably going to come, the big changes that we may not want to deal with? But by being in a practice of opening ourselves to change and to possibility in the small ways, we create a mindset that is better able to deal with change when it comes to the big things. I have several people in my world that are dealing with really dramatic changes and really uncomfortable, very painful changes. But I believe that there is good on the other side. I believe that there is always possibility of good and greater good. You have to walk through that uncomfortability. You have to walk through that pain with a certain amount of faith that there is good on the other side. Even though it may not look like what you want it to look like, it may not be what you had originally hoped. But if you can find a place within you that can trust that there is still good, there is still possibility of joy and happiness on the other side, it can help you to walk through it. So we're going to do a practice about that in a little while, but I would first just like to share with you another recovery thing. You know, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the serenity prayer, right? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, those are all three important parts. But today we're going to be talking about the courage to change the things we can. Because acceptance is really important. What you resist persists, right? So anything that you resist or struggle against is going to keep coming up in your world. One example I always love, Reverend Frankie said that, you know, when you pray for patience, it's not like you're all of a sudden endowed with patience. You will find in your life a million opportunities to practice patience, things that will try your patience. And the more you pray for patience, the more you are going to come up with the opportunity to learn about it, right? That is the answer to the prayer. And a lot of times it doesn't feel like that, right? It feels like the exact opposite, because you are being pushed. You are being pushed to grow. And in this teaching and in any spiritual journey, the purpose of the journey is to evolve. The purpose is to grow your spiritual being, your soul advancing into a greater understanding of love, into a greater expression of showing up in the world as love. So we're going to talk about a few ways to do that, but I would like to say that I'm going to read you a quote. Okay, this is Emmett Fox. Change is the law of the universe. Duh. Without change, the world would not merely remain in a static state, but it would soon become stale and stagnant. Without change, there would be no progress, for change is the essence of betterment. The essence of betterment. Who believes that? Who really believes that change is the essence of betterment? Because it doesn't always seem that way, does it? I mean, a lot of times when you're going through it, change is uncomfortable, change is difficult, change looks like not what you wanted. But if you can remind yourself, if you can come back to the truth principle that change is for your betterment, that there is always a possibility of good and greater good on the other side of that change, how much easier would it be to walk through that uncomfortability? How much easier would it be to embrace change if you could really internalize that idea that the universe is happening for you and not to you? That is one of the core principles of this teaching. That everything that is happening for you, to grow you, whether you like it or not. And I know there's a lot that happens that we don't like and that we don't want. But if you can trust that it is happening for you to learn something, if you can trust that there is a silver lining, how much easier would it be to face?
Much easier.
Much easier. Thank you. It was a rhetorical question, but yes, much easier. And you know, the thing, I've shared this about the AFGO before, right? Another effing growth opportunity. Those things that we really don't want in our lives, but that are there to grow us. And there are so many of them, and they are going to come up. But you get to choose how you deal with it, how you label it, right? In this teaching, we say, change your thinking, change your life. It's the most famous Ernest Holmes quote that there is. But how do you do that? Because we think, oh, well, that's just the thought that popped up in my mind, right? I can't control that. But guess what? You get to change how you react to that thought. And you get to change the second thought. So if a thought pops up, I'm never going to be able to do this, I'm not good enough, you can take a breath, pause, say, you know what? That's not true. I'm choosing not to believe that. I'm going to affirm that I can do this, that I am good enough, I am enough. And that is the second thought, and that is the thought I'm going to act upon, and that is the consciousness from which I'm going to operate. So that is how we change our thinking, change our lives. By choosing consciously and with awareness to make a different choice. To make a choice from a place of love, from a place of faith, from a place of believing that there is greater possibility out there for us. We live in a limitless universe. What does that mean? That means that there are no restrictions to possibility. Any restriction is what you have put on yourself, is a limiting belief that you carry about your worthiness, about your lack, about the way the universe is happening to you and not for you. Whatever it is within you. So I would like to, so if you knew for sure that walking through this uncomfortability and embracing change would bring you the reward of that greater good, would bring you the reward of spiritual growth, would you be willing to do it? Would it make it a little easier? I don't know how many of you remember the show. This is a weird thing to bring up, but do you remember the show Fear Factor? Mm-hmm. Joe Rogan, it was Joe Rogan's first show. It was like, I don't know, in the late 80s, 90s, I'm not sure exactly when it was. But it was a show where people did really uncomfortable, even to me, like, horrible things, like being buried in a pit of snakes, or being in a box full of spiders, or, just really outrageous things, facing their fears and being uncomfortable. Why? Because the proposed reward was such that they were willing to undergo any level of uncomfortability for the possibility of that reward. Of course, it was a financial reward, but that is what motivated them to undergo that uncomfortability, to step into their fear. So if that was the reward that motivated that behavior, if the reward was spiritual growth, being a greater expression of love, feeling more in divine flow, isn't that the greatest reward? Wouldn't that be worth, I don't know if it's worth a pit of snakes, but wouldn't that be worth stepping into your uncomfortability and facing your fears? So our brains work by recognizing what we are rewarded for and then wanting more of that, right? We all know this. It's like sort of a Pavlovian dog thing, right? So here's the thing. If you can keep the idea of this reward in your mind, you will be more able to face whatever circumstances you are confronting. Everything you want is just outside your comfort zone. Have you ever heard that? Life begins outside your comfort zone, right? Because in your comfort zone, nothing changes. And when nothing changes, there's no evolution. There's no advancement. That couch of comfortability that I was talking about, we can sit on that couch until the spring butts you in the ass. And and still, most people are unwilling to get up. Why? Because, it's that old thing, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, right? So you're comfortable in this uncomfortability. When I was in my addiction, there was nothing comfortable about addiction, but moving out of it, changing that, stepping into the unknown of being sober and being in recovery, that was scary. And I definitely had to hit a bottom before I was willing to get off my couch, as uncomfortable as it was. So what is keeping you on your couch? What are you afraid of? What are you struggling with? What limiting belief is keeping you stuck? Because you're not growing there, you're not evolving, you're not advancing. And in the Science of Mind textbook, it says, nature will not let us stay in any one place too long. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and advancement of the soul. Nature demands the change in order that we may advance. So that is the law of life. Change, growth, advancement, evolution. But you have to embrace it. You have to step into it. You have to stop resisting whatever it is that is keeping you stuck, whatever it is that you are leaning back from, and lean into. Lean into whatever it is that makes you uncomfortable. We're going to do a practice about that in a little while. But it all starts with a shift in perspective. And remember after we did the burning bowl ceremony, I don't know how many of you were here, but we did prayers for the world. And we hung them up in the window. And Reverend Frankie took them and brought them on her altar and read them all. And then she shared last week that some of those prayers were about what people didn't want for the world. And in this teaching, we do not affirm what we do not want. We affirm what we do want. And so I know, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's guilty of it, but that I am very able to imagine a circumstance like, oh, if I do this and this could happen, and fill it in with all the details, right? I have imagined every possible detail about what could happen if. So what if we took that energy? That's the absolute opposite of what we teach here, of what affirmative prayer is, of what positive thinking is. Instead of spending that energy on what we don't want, we shift our attention towards what we do want. And so that's what affirmative prayer is, that's what affirmation is, and that is what we're going to do in this visualization. Because where your attention goes, energy flows. And what you have in your mind is what you magnify and what you demonstrate. We believe in the co-creative power of thought, right? So what you really envision and what you bring to reality in your consciousness is what's going to demonstrate in your world. We say, as within, so without. So we're going to do a practice about bringing into our consciousness a greater experience of good, a greater experience of possibility, so that it becomes so real to you that it's as real as right here, right now. But we're going to do that in a little while. First, we are going to have a little sing-along. So I'm going to invite Bashi up here to lead us in this song. There should be words on all of your chairs. It's The Winds of Change by Karen Drucker. And it's a very simple melody. It's very beautiful. And so, here's the thing about uncomfortability, right? If you are someone who does not like to sing in public, I invite you to do something different and to sing. If you are uncomfortable doing this in a group, I'm going to push you to get out of your comfort zone, get up off that couch, and sing. Okay, thank you.
Take me with you, I'm ready to go. Let the winds of change shape and blow.
Come on, everybody. I don't know it either.
I'm willing to see another part of me. Take me with you, I'm ready to go. Let the winds of change shape and blow. Now I am willing to see another part of me. Take me with you. Take me with you. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let the winds of change. Let the winds of change shape and blow. Shape and blow. Now I am willing to start a brand new chapter of my heart. Take me with you, I'm ready to go. Let the winds of change shape and blow.
stepping out of your comfort zone a little and participating in the song. I'm very happy to have seen so much participation. So, we were talking about embracing change and creating a new faith that we believe in possibility. Now, you know, I said that your brain doesn't know, that your brain is able to change neural programming, right? Neural pathways, sorry about that. So I know that there have been studies about visualization and about the power of your brain. I'm sure most of you are familiar with them, right? You know, there's lots of sports ones where they just think they're practicing. My favorite one is about the piano, because I used to play the piano. So, you know, they've done studies where some people practice scales every day on the keyboard, and another group don't have a keyboard. But they practice mentally. They practice mentally, and they practice with every detail. They imagine the feeling of the keys on their fingertips. They imagine the sound. They imagine the sensation. Every aspect of practicing. They visualize it, and they stay in that mental state. And they have found, studies have found, that those people make progress, never having touched a keyboard. That their skills make progress because they have envisioned it to such a degree that their brain doesn't know the difference between them imagining that they're practicing and them actually practicing. And that's the truth about how your brain works. If you can envision something so clearly and embody it and embody the feeling and the sensation, your brain doesn't know that you're not really doing it. And there's great power in that, because you can create in your mind the ability to choose something different. You can create an experience in your mind that will allow you to open your heart and open your mind to a greater possibility. So, I'm going to share a poem with you now about that. I wish it was mine. It's not. It is by the great poet John O'Donohue, and it is called For a New Beginning. But I am going to read it in the style of David White, so I am going to repeat a few lines the way that he does. Using Reverend Frankie's water container. Okay. For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you are ready to emerge. For a long time it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. Still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered. Heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent. Wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight, when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground. Your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. And out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. Wow, right? Really powerful. That world that awaits you is on the other side of your uncomfortability. It is on the other side of the challenges and the change that is facing you. And your soul senses it. How beautiful is that? That's that positive thinking. That's that embracing the infinite possibility that we were talking about. And, oh my goodness, the sameness, the great promises that sameness whispered, that's that couch of comfortability, right? Where everything's the same and everything's gray and you're just staying there. The seduction of safety. No, that's not where growth is. And with delight, a path of plenitude opening before you, that's trusting that there is good and more good. When you follow your heart's desire, when you step into change, when you are willing to be uncomfortable, the possibilities are limitless. They're only limited by you. And so what can we do to embrace this? What can we do to step into this uncomfortability? Well, there are lots of things. There are lots of things we can do. We can do practices, spiritual practices, right? Meditation, prayer, affirmation, visualization, which we're going to do in a little while, visioning, music, all of these things, anything that uplifts your spirit and brings you into a conscious awareness of the one source, the one spirit, that one divine place inside you that we recognized and honored at the beginning, right? All of those things can help you. There are lots of simple ways to do it too. There are lots of everyday things you can do just to train your brain to look differently at uncomfortability, to look differently at change, to not shy away from it in fear, but to embrace it with excitement for the possibilities that lie on the other side. I've said this here before, but your body reacts exactly the same way to fear and to excitement. So when you feel that rumbling in your stomach, when you feel the nerves on your arms, you get to choose whether you label it fear or excitement. Fear of the unknown is the same thing as excitement, anticipation of what could happen. It's how you choose to see it and how you choose to label it. And the words we use are very important because that is how we create new pathways. That is how we create new experiences, right? We choose a different thought. We say, oh God, I can't do that. I'm so afraid of what's going to happen. No. We pause, we take a breath, and we say, that feels like excitement to me because I don't know what's going to happen. Because by not knowing what's going to happen, it leaves an infinite room of possibility. If I knew what was going to happen, there would be no room for growth. There would be no excitement. There would just be the sameness, right? The safety, the seduction of safety, the sameness, the grayness of sameness. But when you don't know, and you are willing to trust that there is good on the other side, and you are willing to know that your soul is looking for that place of greater good and infinite possibility, It makes it easier to step into it. And if you practice it in little ways and adapt your brain towards going towards change, then when those big life changes happen, those things that are out of our control and that we don't want, you will be better able to deal with them because your brain will know to look beyond the circumstance to the possibility of good. Your brain, you will have trained your brain to adapt towards change, towards possibility, towards the good. And we do that by questioning ourselves. We do that by conscious awareness. We do that by questioning why we think this, right? If you have a fear, if you're uncomfortable about something, don't just accept it and move on. Question it. What is it about this that makes me uncomfortable? What is this here to teach me? Because we know that everything in this teaching, we believe everything is there to teach you something, right? Reverend Frankie always says this is your growing edge. Well, what is your growing edge? When you have a pain, it's there to tell you there's something wrong, something you need to take care of. When you have emotional pain, it's there to tell you what needs to be healed, what needs to be known. Maybe it's something you need to do forgiveness around. Maybe it's something you need to do trauma work around. Maybe it's something you need to bring greater compassion to. Maybe it's just to take a class and try to understand more about yourself, or go to therapy, or reach out to a practitioner, or do something that helps you to understand yourself and this experience. Question it and bring awareness, bring conscious awareness to your choices. Why did I choose to just do that? Because it's habitual? Because it's what I always do? What about if I make a conscious choice? I always sit here, or we're going to talk about this. I always sit here. Now I'm going to sit over here, and I'm going to do it as a conscious choice, aware that by choosing something different, there's a different effect. There's a different result. We believe in the law of cause and effect, right? So everything you change in cause, every thought, every behavior, every habit that you change creates a different result. And that's what change and growth is all about. So if you can look and question what the lessons are that a situation is trying to teach you, even if it's one that you don't want to learn, even if it's a painful, difficult one, if you can trust that there is something to be learned and look for that silver lining and find a way through, right? So I'm going to throw out a couple of little silly ways that you can embrace change and help to rewire your brain like that. The easiest one is you brush your teeth with your right hand, use your left. It feels uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable, but it's doing something different. Like I said, if you sit over here, sit over there. If you always go to the same store, if you always shop at ShopRite, try Stop and Shop. I mean, this is not an advertisement, but I'm just saying, do something different, you know? If you are somebody who always talks, try to go through a whole day and only listen. If you're somebody who doesn't talk, go through a whole day and speak to every person you run into, even if it's only hi. Speak to the cashier at the store. Speak to people. Get out of your comfort zone and do something different. Do it in a different way with the conscious awareness that you are choosing to do something different. You know, they always say that travel is one of the greatest, ways that you can expand your awareness and become more empathetic to people of different cultures and everything. But you can travel in your own neighborhood. At the beginning of COVID, when I couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't, I walked around and found out that there are places right around me that I had never seen because they weren't on my way to anywhere. So I had lived there for years and had never been down a certain block and found a beautiful tree. So there are places right near you that you are walking by or driving. So drive a different way. Take a different route and do it consciously, looking for the change. And then, here's the important thing. Remember, we were talking about reward. And reward cements into your brain the change and the choice. So when you do these things, when you brush with the other hand, or when you sit in a different seat, or when you drive a different way, acknowledge to yourself that you have made a change. And give yourself a little pat on the back. Give yourself a little praise. Good for me, I'm doing something different. Good for me, I'm rewiring my brain. And your conscious attention to that will help it to manifest, will help cement it in your brain. Because we all like an attaboy, right? We all like a little praise. And you can do that for yourself. How often do you do that? I know we're all really good at saying, God, that was stupid. God, I shouldn't have done that. But how often do you say, good job, Lori? Good job. That's, you're rewiring your brain by making a different choice. Good job. So I'm inviting all of you to give yourself lots of good jobs this week, to try and praise yourself for those little changes that you make. Okay, so we are going to now do a spiritual practice about really trying to embody that change and really feel it. We're going to try and create it in our consciousness to such a degree that it becomes real. So I invite you to close your eyes. And just settle into the moment. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, I invite you to let go of everything that you are thinking, feeling. Just try to empty yourself. Empty yourself so that we have a blank canvas to work with. One more. Breathe in. And on the exhale, just try to let go of everything. Sigh it out. And now, from this place of stillness, I invite you to bring into your awareness something you are struggling with. Something that makes you uncomfortable. Maybe it's a change in your circumstances. Maybe it's a person you don't want to talk to. Maybe it's that exercise program you don't want to start. Whatever it is for you, bring it into your awareness and really feel it. Feel the uncomfortability of it. Ugh, God, I don't want to have that conversation. Feel what it feels like to be in that space of uncomfortability. And now, from that place of knowing and trusting and believing in the possibility of good and greater good, I invite you to imagine the best possible outcome of this situation, whatever it is. What if everything worked out to your best idea, to the best thing you could imagine? How would that feel? What would it look like? Is there a taste or a sound or a smell or a touch associated with it? Paint that picture with as much detail as you can. What it feels like in that field of possible good when everything works out. When everything happens for your highest good. Feel your heart open. Are you full of joy? Does your body feel full of vitality? Do you feel like a weight has dropped off your shoulders? Whatever it is for you, feel it. Breathe into it. try to envision every detail about it so that it becomes very real for you. Take a few breaths into this place, into this reality that you've created, into this vision of the best possible good. Just breathe into it and let it fill every cell of your being. And remember that this place, this possibility exists now. It exists in your mind, in your consciousness, and in your experience. Your brain doesn't know that this isn't reality. If you come back here again and again and flesh it out with full details, make it a real experience, and stay there for a while. That's your homework for this week. To come back to this place for a few minutes every day and breathe there. Breathe in that possibility of good. Breathe in what it's like to be on the other side of that uncomfortability. Enjoy that feeling. And the more you do this, the more you practice this, the more possible it is for this to actually manifest in your world. And the more possible it is for you to deal with uncomfortability, knowing that this is just as possible as all the things you usually worry about. And now, keeping that place inside yourself to return to at a later time, I invite you to bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and toes or whatever it takes, and come back with an increased awareness of the possibility of good and your access to it, your willingness to walk through uncomfortability and embrace change, to get on the other side, to get back to that place that we just imagined so well and visualized so thoroughly. And so from that place, of knowing that there is ultimate good, there's also the law of circulation. So this is the time for our conscious giving. So I invite you to give. You can fill out an envelope. You can text to give. You can go on our website and hit the donate button, which is what I do. You can give by service. You can give by showing up, sponsoring a social hour. You can give by bringing friends to service and growing your community. There are lots of ways to give. But I'm going to invite you to give into your uncomfortability. So if you're usually comfortable giving a certain amount, give $1 more. Give a little bit more than you're comfortable doing. If you're usually comfortable showing up, show up with somebody else. Try to stretch yourself and practice that uncomfortability that we talked about. Change something and embrace a greater experience. So while the basket is going, I'm going to invite you all to speak our affirmation. So you can put your hands on your heart if you want and repeat after me. Divine love consecrates this gift.
Divine love consecrates this gift.
I give it joyously.
I give it joyously.
I give it abundantly.
I give it abundantly.
And I give it from that place within me
And I give it from the place within me
where divinity lives.
where divinity is.
Knowing that as I give, so I receive.
So I receive.
And so it is.
So it is.
Well, so while that goes around, we have a bunch of announcements here. Save them to the end so that we can. Okay, so let's see. Sorry. All right, so the first one is that tomorrow night starts Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, a new 6-week Science of Mind Foundations class taught by Susan Neat. It is available on Zoom and it's at 6:30 and it's not too late to register. You have to register on Breeze. Susan is an amazing practitioner and a great teacher. I have done lots of little meditation workshops with her and she is awesome. And if I didn't have a book group that I lead on Monday nights, I would probably take it myself. So I invite you all to step out of your comfort zone and take a new class. Embrace something new. Also, we're going to have a discovery class, a free discovery class, Sunday, February 18th from 12:30 to 3 after service, and that's for anyone interested in becoming a member. Anybody who wants to find out more about the teaching, about the center, this is what you do. Come to discovery class. So I invite you all to participate in that. Become members of our beautiful community. We are also having a potluck dinner on Thursday, February 22nd. Thank you, Jean, and everyone who is getting this organized. So we invite you to come and bring food and socialize with your community. And if you are not comfortable doing it, what's the lesson? Step into your uncomfortability. So if you're somebody who doesn't like to do that, or somebody who thinks you can't cook, I invite you to step out of that and try, right? We're going to embrace our uncomfortability and do something different. So come join us, bring some food. Actually, I won't be here that night, but it's because I'm eating something somewhere else. But we also have, oh my goodness, we have another sound bath coming up. This might sound like it's far away. It's Sunday, March 24th, but it fills up quick. And you do not want to miss a sound bath with Kat Roman. She is amazing. It is a transcendent experience. I know a lot of you have been in her sound baths, so you can register on Breeze. They're already taking registrations, even though it's months away. We also have a new restorative yoga class that is every other Sunday on Zoom at 7 p.m. And this woman, let's see, what is her name? Hannah doing restorative yoga. Reverend Frankie swears by it. I haven't actually done it myself, but it's on Zoom and it's on a Sunday night and it's restorative. So it's very easy and graceful and calming, and I invite you to join. You need to register on Breeze. I think that is it. Anybody? Oh, the most important announcement. There will be Treatment Express after the service. You all know how much I love to pray. So there will be Treatment Express available up here. You can come up for a fast treatment. And if you need more support, you can reach out to a practitioner. There's information up here. All of the flyers are up here for everything that I mentioned, as well as information to reach myself, Gail Belluardo, or Reverend Frankie, or Reverend Janice. Also, every center has practitioners, so do not hesitate to use practitioners. We're here for you. And I think that's it. So we are going to close out service with a closing prayer treatment. Like I said, it's our word for affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, and we are just going to affirm the good that we have all experienced here today. So once again, I invite you to close your eyes. And just take a breath and come into a place of awareness. Come into that place within you, that namaste place, that place of inner divinity, that place of love, that place that wants to be grown, that place that wants to face uncomfortability and step into change, to have a new experience. And from this place, we acknowledge the truth of who and what we are, that we are each sparks of the divine, and that we are here to grow, to evolve, to advance on our spiritual journey. And that this time together today has done just that. I affirm that everyone has been uplifted and moved forward on their journey through this time together today. I bless each and every one here and each and every one listening on their journey as they embrace uncomfortability and step into change with a slightly higher degree of faith in the possibility of good and being able to see to the other side. And I know that we are never alone in this. We have each other, we have spirit, and we are moving changing, evolving, and growing into greater expressions of love. Love in action. That is our mantra here. That is who we want to be. That is who we are. And so I affirm that we all step into that to a greater and greater degree today because of being here. And so with deep gratitude for this time together, with deep gratitude for this prayer and for all of you, I release this word. I release it joyfully. I release it gratefully. And I release it expectantly, knowing the power of word in the law. And so I let it go. I let it be. And I invite you to all join me in saying, and so it is. And now we're going to have a little Karen Drucker, but you can we're just going to sort of let that play. We're going to turn off the live stream and you can get up. We have a little social hour in the back. So step into change and meet someone new. I invite you to talk to someone you don't know during social hour.